You're welcome to this channel once again. I want to speak today on understanding ISO 27002. ISO 27002 is a guidance standard. The current edition was published in 2022. All right, so you can see here of February 2022. That's when the current edition was published. All right, so we have this guidance standard is actually meant to be uh, a guidance to ISO 27001, specifically Annex A, all right, of 27001. All right, so you see the title, Information Security, Cybersecurity, and Privacy Protection, information security controls. So basically is basically created to expatiate on the 93 Annex A controls you have in ISO 27001. All right, so if you look at 27001 itself, the Annex A is more or less in summary. So it's one liner, right? So you see the requirements on capacity management online, the requirement on ISMS policy online, contact with authorities, just one sentence. Virtually all of them, right? Virtually all of them is explained in one line, one sentence. So you have the 27,001 telling us what to do, but didn't tell us how to go about it. All right, so how to go about implementing 27,001 Annex A is what you find in ISO 27,002. All right, so you see the content. So it has a forward, it has an introduction, then clause one is scope, normative references, clause two, clause three, terms and definitions, right? Then you have clause four. Clause four deals with the structure of the document, right? I will actually be placing more emphasis in this video on this class four, right? Structure of the document, themes, attributes, right? I've actually done quite some research on 27,001, 27,002, and I realized that one of the least addressed areas in 27,002 is this 4.2, all right? Themes and attributes. It's not, they are not that addressed, like other aspects of 27,002. All right. Clause five is dealing with organizational controls. All right. Expatiating on organizational controls. We can see there are 37 of them. Then clause six addresses people controls. Those are the human resources controls. All right. There are eight of them. Then clause seven, expatiates on physical controls, 14 of them. Then clause eight addresses technological controls. There are how many? 34 technological controls. All right. So basically this is on the 7,002. Okay. So you have the forward. Okay, the work forward basically introduces ISO, IEC, the collaboration between ISO and IEC to create the standards. All right, that's what we have uh in this forward. The introduction gave us background about ISO 27001. All right, being the main standard, all right, of the 27,000 family, while 27,002 is supporting it. Okay, so like I said, uh, so you have okay related international standards. So I'm sure at this level, You are probably aware of us. There's 27,000 family of standards. So you have 27,000, which is the vocabulary of ISMS, 27,001, that's the main standard. 27,002, all right, is on the control. 27,003 is a guidance on how to implement 27,001 plus 4 to 10. 27,004 is a guidance on how to implement clause 9.1, right, on monitoring and measurement. All right, so 2005 is on IT risk assessments, how to do risk assessment on technology risk and so on. So you have all those 27,000 plus are related to ISMS basically. Okay. Like I said, I will be placing more. I want to talk more about clause 4, all right? Clause 3 is terms and definitions. All right, so you can, get a copy of the standard and look through these definitions, okay? Those are not my emphasis in these uh, video, okay? Maybe another time I might be able to look at these definitions, but these are not my concern right now. All right. I want to look. I'm more concerned about class 4. Yes. So like I said, I've gone through a lot of study materials from 27,001, 27,002. All right, and I see that this area is not that emphasized, and that's why I'm addressing it in this video. Right. So for 4.1 is talking about the clauses, right? So he's telling us that the 27,002 controls are divided into four: organizational controls, the people controls, physical controls, technological controls. Anyone implementing 27,001 or auditing 27,001, you have to be familiar with that. Or you're writing an exam on 27,001, lead implementer, lead auditor, right? You need to be familiar with the fact that the three controls are divided into those four uh, sections. Okay, so 4.2 themes and attributes. All right, controls are categorized as people if they concern individual people, physical if they concern physical objects, technological if they concern technology, and otherwise, all right, categorized as organizational. All right, so those are the four categories. Now, I want you to look at 4.2. All right, this A, control type. All right, fine. Control type. You say, okay, let me pick from here. By way of example, each control in this document has been associated with 5 attributes with corresponding attribute value preceded by, you know, hash to make them searchable as follows. 5 attributes, right? Now, so those 5 attributes, uh, the first one is control type, okay? I want you to take note of that. Okay, like I said, these things are not emphasized a lot. So you have control type, you have information security properties, right? You have cyber security concepts, you have operational capabilities. Then the fifth one, security domains. All right, I want you to take note of those. All right, security domains. Those are the 5 attributes that you know controls may have. Okay, so let me start from the first one, control type. Control type is an attribute to view controls from the perspective of when and how the control modify the risk with regard to the occurrence of an information security incident. All right, so control type is saying when do you apply that control? All right, when is it applicable? Is it before? all right, an attack or during an attack or after an attack, or to prevent a risk or to detect a risk or to correct a risky event. All right. So in terms of control type, all right, we can look at controls as preventive, as detective, and as corrective. Take note of that. Control type, all right, could be preventive if the control is intended to prevent the occurrence of an information security incident. So if you look at the 93 controls in the Annex A, some of them are preventive, some of them are detective, all right. If the act when an information security incident occurs, some of them are corrective if the control acts after an information security incident occur. So when we're looking at those statutory controls in the Annex A, we need to look at them from the prism of control type. All right, is this control preventive? Is it detective or is it corrective? Okay, please take note of that. Okay, so B, another attribute, information security properties. Okay, information security properties is an attribute of V controls from the perspective of which characteristics of information the control will contribute to preserve. And now, when it comes to information security properties, we're now talking about CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So if you've been in our information security, cybersecurity, you'll have heard of CIA, of course. So this attribute of information security properties is saying a control can be there to preserve confidentiality. A control can be there to preserve integrity. A control can be there to preserve availability. All right. So we can look at controls from those three prisms also. So that's B. Like I said, these are areas where I've not seen quite material discussions on these aspects of 27,002. Okay, C. All right, the third attribute, cybersecurity concepts. Cybersecurity concept is an attribute to V controls from the perspective of the association of controls to cybersecurity concept defined in the cybersecurity framework. All right, described in ISO, IEC, technical standard 27110, 27110. Now, attribute values consist of identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. So that is another prism, all right, to look at controls. So a control might be focusing on identifying, maybe focusing on protecting, maybe focus on detecting, maybe focus on responding, maybe focus on recovering. All right. So that's another way to look at these statutory controls. So what I like about these attributes is basically is that the standard is showing us different ways. All right, the different ways we can different classification prisms that we can use to look at these controls. Then the fourth one, operational capabilities. Operational capability is an attribute to view controls from the practitioner's perspective of information security capabilities. Attribute values consist of governance. A control can be in the realm of governance, can be all right. So you have governance, you have asset management, you have information protection, you have human resources security, you have physical security, you have system and network security, you have application security, you have secure configuration, you have identity and access management, all right? You have threat and vulnerability management, you have continuity, you have supplier relationship security, you have legal and compliance, you have information security event management, and information security assurance. So in terms of operational capabilities, we can look at controls from these prisms also from the prism of governance, asset management, information protection, human resource security, physical security, and so on, just as it is listed out under these operational capabilities. Fine. So the fifth attribute is the security domains, right? Security domains is an attribute to V controls from the perspective of four information security domain. All right. So you have governance and ecosystem. So governance and ecosystem include information system security governance and risk management, ecosystem cybersecurity management, including internal and external stakeholders. All right, protection. Now, that's another one now. So we have governance and ecosystem, all right, security domain. You have protection. Protection includes IT security architecture, IT security administration, identity and access management, IT security maintenance, physical and environmental security. Then you have defense, right? Defense includes detection and computer security, incident management, all right? Then you have resilience, all right, which include continuity of operations and crisis management. All right, so you can see attribute values under security domain, all right, consist of governance and ecosystem domain, protection domain, defense domain, and resilience domain. So those are the four security uh, domains that we have under these here. So each of the 93 controls can also be looked at from the perspective of the security domain that they belong to, either governance and ecosystem, either protection, either defense and resilience. So like I said, all right, this is one area I've not seen emphasis, all right, in ISO 27001, 27002 training, which I really want to point out so that we take note of it. All right, so if you look at the controls, fine. So we are now in clause 5. So you can see now 5.1 policies for information security. So those 5 attributes, you can see them here now. Control type, information security properties, cybersecurity properties, operational capabilities, and security domains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this 5.1, all right, Annex 5.1 policies. The control type is preventive, right? Policies is a preventive control. Information security properties that is addressing is all the three: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Cybersecurity concept is that is related to it is identify. Operational capability is governance. Security domains is governance and ecosystem and resilience. All right. So there are some certification exams. All right. That actually is expect that you know this. All right. So there are some certification exams on 27,001 that expect that require you to have this knowledge, and that is also one of the reasons I'm emphasizing this. So when you pick an NSA controls, all right, you may actually be asked, okay, what security domain does it pertains to? What operational capability is relevant for that control? What cybersecurity concept is that control addressing? You should know this. And that's why I'm showing you this. So you can see 5.1, you can see um the breakdown. All right. So then if you can see, if I go to 5.2, okay, fine. Information security roles and responsibility. So you can see the control type is also preventive. Information security property is also addressing CIA. All right. Cybersecurity concept relevant is identify. Operational capabilities relevant is governance. Security domains applicable is governance and ecosystem protection and resilience. Okay, so let me go to people controls, right? Let's see. That will be quite far, right? Um, okay, let me scroll down to another. Okay, okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, fine. So these people control the similarity process. So you can see the control type has changed. This one, the applicable is preventive and corrective, right? Preventive, and it makes sense, right? So you have a disciplinary process to warn employees, okay, these are our SMS policy. If you breach it, okay, these are the consequences. So that could prevent, that could actually culture people, all right, can affect the way people behave in the office, all right, or in the workplace. Okay, but of course, somebody is going to break it at a point in time. Somebody's going to violate it for sure. So in that kind of scenario, then the disciplinary process, all right, requirements now become operational. So it becomes a corrective control. Okay, so it's both preventive and corrective. Information security properties relevant is CI, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Cybersecurity concept being addressed is protect and respond. All right, operational capability here, of course, is human resources security. The security domain relevant is governance and ecosystem. You can see this clearly. You can see this clearly. Okay, let me look at another control. All right, maybe under physical. Let me check physical, any control under physical. All right, let me check any control under physical. Okay, fine. Physical security perimeter. Control tab is preventive, all right? Is addressing CIA confidentiality, integrity, availability. The cybersecurity concept applicable is to protect the organization. Operational capability is physical security. Then the security domain relevant is protection. So you see how what I'm talking about, so, but it's about the classification. So let me go to technological controls. Then you see another control, see our relevance, these classifications, these attributes, all right, of these controls. If I pick, if I go to eight, fine. So I go to eight, go to eight. Um, Almost there. Okay, fine. Privilege access rights management. Control type is preventive, all right? It's for preventive control. It's addressing confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Cybersecurity concept relevant is to protect. Operational capability is identity and access management. You can see that. Then the security domain applicable is protection. Okay, let me pick one more under technological control. Access to source code. All right, access to source code, Annex 8.4 is a preventive control. It's addressing CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The cybersecurity concept applicable is to protect. Operational capability is identity and access management and application security and secure configuration. You see that? Okay, then security domain relevant is protection. So these are it works. These are each of the controls, all right, in the Annex A, all right, each of them has five attributes, as you can see clearly spelled out in 27,002. You will not see this detail in 27,001, of course. All right. So also, like I said, the idea of 27,002 is to provide guidance to the interpretation of 27,001. So as an implementer or as an auditor, it actually gives you an idea of what to do to implement the requirement of 27,001. For example, now this access to source code. Look at the recommendation of 27,002, managing the access to program source code and program source libraries according to established procedures, granting read and write access to source code based on business needs and managed to address risk of alteration or misuse according to established procedures, updating of source code and associated items, and granting of access to source code in accordance with change control procedures. All right, not granting developers direct access to the source code repository, but through developer tools to control activities and authorizations on the source code. So it's giving suggestions, all right, on what you can do to meet this particular requirement of 27,001. So the 7,002 is a very, very, very important resource in the hands of lead implementers and lead auditors. Lead auditors can use it to create audit programs. Lead implementer can use it to create checklists, all right, to help them in the interpretation and compliance with 27001. My name is Akinwale Akindia. So this is the end of this presentation. If you have questions or comments, kindly drop those questions and comments in the comment section. Thank you for listening. Thank you.